This is The Stuff Dreams Are Made Of. I'm writer-collector Ryan Condal.
And I'm writer-collector Dave Mandel. Hey, Ryan. How you doing today?
Hi, Dave.
What's going on?
We're knocking out 2 in less than a week here.
I know. I feel like, was this the one where we were, because we did the middle part first, were we supposed to wear the same shirts? I can't remember. Was that the plan?
No,
it's all part of the YouTube to make it look like it was all the same day. Did I ruin that already?
It's all part
our
of
shirts ruined it? Okay,
it's part of the movie magic, my friend.
It's good.
Yeah, it's very
We'll go
good.
in post. We'll fix it in post, as they say.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to spend a lot of money. We're going to spend all the ad revenue to change shirts.
We're going to do
which,
that.
By the way, is doable. I don't know if you know that now. I did that. I've previously changed like what a dress looked like. I in a shot of Veep, like Selena was wearing a top, and we changed it to like the color black, so it would be it would match something later. And in the upcoming White House Plumbers, we had two scenes in a hotel room. One where Howard Hunt, Woody Harrelson, is sitting on his bed without a jacket, and then he answers the door and has the jacket. And we got rid of part of it, and actually they were able to add the jacket onto him when he was sitting on the bed. And it's crazy because I know there was no jacket, and you cannot see it, and I don't know, it's incredible, and in a weird way, the ability to do that ruins everything. Like it just, you know what I mean? Like it makes it seem like why are we even bothering to sort of
film anything
earlier? Yeah, exactly. But
yeah, I mean, it's brilliant. It's genius. It's movie magic, but also it's the reason that movies look the way they do now. You know. Yes,
I think as soon as like the AI can not only do that but also write the script, which I guess now with that chat whatever it can, we're out.
Did you hear the Seinfeld episodes one?
I did. I laughed. It was sort of an endless loop in a very funny way. I had actually Windows? A million years ago when Jason Alexander hosted Saturday Night Live when I was at SNL before I worked at Seinfeld. I had pitched this idea for a sketch that I called the Seinfeld Zone. And it was sort of going to be a Twilight Zone parody, like Consider a Man, whatever. And then the idea was just sort of trapped in your own sort of endless loop of like, forgive me, what's the deal with, or like, and it was just sort of it's the chat AI version is almost as close as to sort of the nightmare, like, or at least part of it, the top,
just everything in the room. What's the deal with? And
it was sort of that in like an endless loop, and it's like, I've got to go, and the door's locked. It's like, what, and it just was, I don't know. It of course did not air and never got anywhere.
No.
I think I would have been better off writing it after I had worked at Seinfeld, but anyway, at the time it was a bad version of it.
That's good stuff, though. I like that.
What's new in props, Ryan? No, seriously, Ryan, what is new?
But wait, I was gonna add to your CG thing because I learned, because we had a situation. We had an injured actor, and we had to put armor on the actor for this very specific thing that we needed to do. And and they were like, we can do it. And I was like, no, that's impossible. And amazingly, they did. I mean, I guess Iron Man, whatever.
I would think armor would almost be, I don't want to say it's easier, but at least it sort of like it's solid, I guess. Like,
right. Yeah, it doesn't,
although I would worry about are you outside? Is the sun glinting off it and reflections?
Yeah, it was a studio element. It was crazy. And then our visual effects supervisor told me that there were and I didn't know this. You might know this. There were entire scenes in Force Awakens where Adam Driver did not have the Kylo Ren helmet on, and in post they were like, this would be much creepier, scarier if he had the helmet on, and they didn't reshoot the scenes. They just put the helmet on him in post and like added the voice and did that whole thing. And that just seemed
nuts. That's
nuts to me. And the fact that we've both seen that movie multiple times and did not even notice that as a possibility.
We've seen that movie a lot of times. That was never the problem.
Awesome. Yeah. But maybe it would have been if he didn't have the helmet on.
No, I think I would have loved it if without the helmet. That would have been a classic.
I know. More Adam Driver in our lives. So anyway, so what's new in props? I have a thing. It's a it's more of a what's new in collecting thing.
Okay.
So, and we will post this on the feed. But there's this delightful video that our producer, editor, Bartley Taylor sent me. Bart's a big car guy. I'm a big car guy. And Bart follows a lot of these YouTuber car reviewers. And some of them are reviewers. Some of them are just enthusiasts. This guy, Doug DeMuro, is really great. And he's a real like collector, like nerdy collector, but about cars. And he's been doing this YouTube channel for years now. He has a ton of following, many more followers than we do. We should be doing a car podcast.
Oh, he has
Dave.
more than 100? Okay.
he has like 7 figures, like in the millions. And he founded this website called Cars and Bids, I think. It's this collector's website for just selling cool cars, not necessarily collector car, just interesting cars. And it did really well and got some big investment, I think, out of Bloomberg for like, $40 million or something like that. So Doug went out and bought his dream car, which is this $1 million+ Porsche called the Porsche Carrera GT. This is the car that...
Was there no bottle of scotch he could buy and drink for $1 million?
Well, you never know. See, I'd buy the car and the scotch, but so he bought this car.
Crash the car. Go on.
His dream car and when this is sort of infamously, this is the car that Paul Walker was driving when he tragically passed away. So it's like the last sort of analog race car. There is no computer in that car to keep the wheels from spinning out. I mean, it's a true race car built for production. Jerry Seinfeld has had multiples. It's the big, they made like 1,000 of them. It's a big collector vehicle, and they sell between $1 million and $1.25 million, depending on condition, color.
And what is this for my own? Because I know nothing. What is the year of said car? When was the
2005? They made it for two model years, 2005, 2006. But they make a hypercar every blue moon. So every like 25 years, Porsche. Remember the 918? It's the one it's the current one that they made about 10 years ago, and it looks like a Formula One car. It's really crazy.
Did it have a monkey on its hood? Because if it didn't,
it does.
I'm not familiar with it. Oh,
not.
It does. Oh, I've got to get one of those.
It doesn't. It's very cool. So we'll post this thing on the feed, but like. So Doug tells this great story about how when he was, this kind of starving car enthusiast when he was in high school, he saw it in the flesh for the first time in this little town he grew up in. He couldn't believe that he saw it. And it was a yellow one, and he just fell in love, and he obsessed over it for years and years, and got to drive one some years ago for the podcast, and just it coveted and coveted and coveted. And he eventually, earned enough money and success through his enthusiasm for cars that he was able to go out and buy one. And just his delight, he is just oozing just nerd. And it's about a car, but like you can imagine, imagine me getting my Atlantean sword for the first time. It was all that kind of going on, and it's just pure joy, and it's so delightful. And it's like that thing where a collector is a collector. It doesn't matter what you collect. Like that guy is a collector. And I love it. And I just want to, it's like, it was the #1 trending video on YouTube, because I think just the world loved it. Because it's just a man.
It's not about the
joy.
car. It's not about what you collect. No. It's just that
joy. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's pause a second quickly while I watch it. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, we're back. I just watched it. It's fucking insane. I love it. But I am much more taken with the idea that this guy grew his website that big, started an auction thing, and got somebody to give them $40 million so that he could buy one of these things.
Yeah.
You and I are terrible at this. That's what that video taught me. We are doing this wrong. I don't know what the fuck we're doing. We're doing this wrong, but we're just not even. No one is ever going to give us $40 million for this website. Or I
think the next time I get a Holy Grail prop, I think I'm just going to try to reenact that with it and hope that maybe it trends on YouTube, and then somebody comes and invests.
And then somebody invests, so sort of the reverse. Then they like your reaction so much. All right, I like that. Yeah. I like that. All right.
Or maybe I'll just take one of these things out of the case and just react to it, and then hope it trends #1 on YouTube. I don't know.
you and I guess the honest to God way, and it makes me crazy, would be if we started unboxing our props when they arrived, which I don't my children watch unboxing videos. I honestly believe it's like one of the signs of the apocalypse.
Yes.
I don't understand it,
Yes.
but maybe that is how we
And
grow our web audience, and someone invests in us $40 million, and then we
and with
go
us,
buy
like,
more props, and
I
then we
actually
open
love
those
this.
props, and then we get more money, and we open our props, we get more money.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, you would like to see an unboxing video,
kid, right? The toy kid on
right?
YouTube that makes like $40 million a year just because he plays with toys. But like, I mean, I'm just laughing thinking about prop unboxing because it's a terribly packed box with just tons of peanuts and infuriating bubble wrap that's been,
Right.
Wrapped in duct tape.
It's an
and then double
11-hour
wrapped
video. Yeah, it's an 11-hour video, and then you just bring out a call sheet.
Yeah, right.
It's like, here it is. Here's my call sheet. Yeah.
Right.
Ta-da!
Yeah.
Look at the hits.
And you realize
realize
that you just spent 11 hours getting to the COA, and the real prop is still deep inside the packing peanut.
You realize you open it up, and you realize that like it was opened by customs and they broke it, and that's the video.
The other one.
Yeah,
that's the other one. So what's new in props for you, Dave?
Nothing new in my world, although there was a big story that's been going on in the news, which I know you've seen because we talked about it briefly when it was sort of in the middle of it. But the entire the Peter Mayhew, I guess Angie Mayhew, is sort of estate, or I don't know what to call it. The stuff they left behind has been resolved. For anyone who doesn't know, we'll put links as well. But I guess an auction house was going to auction off a bunch of early Star Wars stuff, a script, it looked like call sheets, schedules, a whole bunch of stuff that had been owned by Peter Mayhew, who had played Chewbacca, that was being auctioned off by people that I guess moved into the house that they used to own and found it in the attic. And if I understand it correctly, they had moved to Texas, like, I don't know, 10 odd years ago when Mr. Mayhew was alive. And somehow, because of his injuries and whatnot, no one went up into the attic. They left stuff. And then, I don't know, remembered they left it, regretted it. That part is sort of very unclear. And I don't really want to get into the various, like, why didn't they go in the attic? Why, and all of that nonsense, which I feel like is just not a good rabbit hole. But they got it back. And it was an interesting thing. And I'll say two things. One, I was very, very happy they got it back. And two, very, very, very sad that the Peter Mayhew stuff will not be up for auction. So that's really, those are my conclusions on the story.
But
Good
will
for
it,
them.
though?
Well, I guess now she has the option to sell it for herself. You're right about that. But it sounded like it was really interesting stuff. Like, again, not that there aren't early Star Wars call sheets, but his scripts, and also just even, just anything with his notations and circling, whatever. And the Star Wars collector and the Chewbacca collector in me was on the side of the auction house, but the vaguely human part of me was on their side. So there you go.
I'm trying to remember, because I haven't read a Star Wars script in forever. How is Chewbacca dialogue handled? Is there a dialogue indent with Chewbacca and then roar?
He said lines like I honestly, it's too long. I haven't looked lately. I think there's lines in there, if memory serves, where he said things like, he would say, like, what do you, how do we fly this? I'm making this up. And then he would say those things on the set. And that's sort of how they because they had no idea that all that sound came later. That was all Ben Burt later, and it's like part seal and part bear and part a couple of other things. So they just didn't really know. So I think it was sort of like, it's that lost version of Star Wars where you have like, what's his name? David Prowse doing Darth Vader with his thick accent, and you have Peter Mayhew, whose accent isn't as thick, sort of saying Chewbacca lines, and and
can you imagine being on that set in 1976?
Well, you do start to understand why the British crew just thought this was
like, what
nonsense.
The hell are we making?
Like a borderline porno movie, like is what they thought they were making. I think
without the exciting parts.
Yeah. So you do understand. But anyway, that was sort of, what's new in props, or I guess in this case, what's not new in props because it's not going to auction.
It's not going to be.
So, Yet. We'll see.
Yeah.
How much they really wanted it back or not. Or I guess you could sell some of it. You could keep a little, but sell a couple. I guess now that you have it all back.
That's a good plan.
Know what? The one thing I was going to say is the one thing that was not included in the auction, like they wanted the Star Wars stuff back, but you have to assume there was a lot of other stuff they left in that attic that they didn't want back. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, if I was the person that had to give it up, I'd be like, oh yeah, well, what about your margarita glasses and your trunk of size, like extra tall sweatpants? What am I supposed to do with that stuff? Yeah,
and your 3 artificial Christmas trees.
Yeah. Your children's art. What am I supposed to do with your children's art?
Oh, good Lord. Where do you put that, Dave? There's so much of
it. I guess
coming
you
out
just
of the walls,
you send that to Julian's and they do an auction? Because don't they sell all that kind of Peter Mayhew sweatpants,
Yeah,
and people spend
true.
I don't know, thousands
of
dollars.
But will they am I at a point yet where I can sell my children's art at auction?
Not yet, but soon.
I have to die
very soon. I think 2 more seasons of House of the Dragon. I think you can sell whatever you want. Yeah,
because they generate a lot of it. Yeah.
Well, so anyway, congratulations, Mayhews. Sorry you don't have your sweatpants.
Yes. But we have a big episode tonight, Dave.
We have a huge episode tonight. Speaking of things coming to fruition, is that a good segue? Things coming to fruition.
Really good.
We have the results of the Propstore contest, the Ryan 10, Dave 10 contest. We have the results of that, and then the winner also of that Propstore contest, an actual viewer, fan of the show who bought something in the auction. They do exist. But before we can get to who won it, we have to find which of us won it. And for that, we will bring out Chuck Costas of Propstore. I just want to say in advance, I am not sure whether I will accept these results from a legal standpoint. In advance.
Are you going to be storming the Propstore Capital?
Storm the Valencia offices of Propstore. Right.
Well, don't presume a loss, Dave. I mean,
no, that is true, because
everybody loves an underdog.
I don't know if I told you, I've spent like $200,000 with the Dave 10 coupon. I bought.
Oh wow!
I bought a ridiculous amount of stuff of Witcher things and some other stuff from Propstore. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah,
that seems
cornering the Witcher market.
It just seems like a smart investment.
Yeah,
on my part. Yeah, to win bragging rights. Yeah,
$200,000 to win a $4 trophy. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's very similar to what those guys are doing on that soccer show. Welcome to Wrexham.
Yeah,
very similar.
Yeah, there you go.
Minus revitalizing the town and inspiring and having a show that anybody watches. Minus all of that.
Kind of anything constructive. Yeah, you're doing the same thing.
And a general lack of fame on my part or anyone caring. Yeah, but otherwise,
also that.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, without further ado,
welcome, Mr. Chuck Costas.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chuck Costas.
Hello, everyone. Great to be back.
What? Remind us of the company that you work for. This is a YouTube only joke.
I'm from Propstore today. I am representing Propstore. We are the sponsors. We're glad to be one of your sponsors.
Hold on, really quickly. For those of you watching on YouTube, or not watching on YouTube, I should say, Chuck is wearing a Propstore T-shirt. Is that a cast and crew only Propstore T-shirt, or is that something like that people could buy if they were Propstore fans?
I think those people that spend $200,000 like yourself, those VIPs, they might qualify for one of those. But They are very exclusive as of right now.
Dave bought $200,000 worth of Propstore T-shirts
and then found out the Dave 10 code was not.
Yes,
not
after the contest ended, you may have missed out on actually contributing to your win or loss here, Dave. I guess we will find out.
Right, I'll take them. All right, Chuck. Well, it's been an incredible season. We're getting to the results a little bit late here because we sort of ran out of
we're early. We're not really sure when this is airing. We don't know where we are. So that's very exciting. This could be right at the beginning or somewhere buried in the middle. We don't honestly know, but we're very excited.
Either way, we ran out of road in 2022. So this is now a 2023 announcement.
This is definitely 2023 unless it's 2024. But again, either way.
Possible.
also possible.
We're all busy men. But we're excited to have Chuck on. Thank you guys again for being the sole sponsor for our podcast, other than Manscaped, which
don't forget Manscaped
has gone oddly silent on us. But we would love to hear how everything did this year and whether this has been a productive promotion for you, and most importantly, who won. So.
Well,
we turn the floor to you, Chuck.
Was it productive, by the way? Was it? Do you guys, is Propstore?
Is this something you're happy with?
Do you sell things?
We are thrilled with the results. I think at the end of the day, and I'll start by saying that, is this season compared to last season, the stats were up. They were up. So I think it's working. Right. I think that the audience is more engaged. I think we saw more participation. Let me give you some basic stats. And for those, just to summarize, those that participated, we have the Dave 10 and the Ryan 10 codes. People that use those got 10% off their buy now purchases. And then they were also entered for, I guess, another opportunity to actually be part of the show, which we'll reveal later as well.
Yeah.
But so first, as far as people participating, this year we had 18 people participating versus last year we only had 12 people actually participating in this. So 18 distinct people.
Those numbers still sound awful, though.
Well,
I'm going to just be honest.
Dave, I will add, though, remember last year you had asked
somebody spending $200,000, though, Dave.
Yeah,
one of them.
It's one of those guys. But we did actually have more people this time by more times. And what I mean, they actually had multiple purchases. So last year we only had one.
18 people are doing it multiple times. Yeah. So we have 18 diehard fans. Well, that about sums this show up perfectly. I mean, think about it. Yeah.
That's it,
Dave. If you actually think about what this show is, that may be the most perfect sentence ever constructed. Yeah.
They are very diehard. So 6 of those 18 people actually bought more than once.
That's a 50% increase.
Yeah.
By the way.
That's great.
50%.
That's a 50%. And so just to remind you, last year, the total numbers that were raised by the sale were $9,164, which Dave contributed $553. So I know there were a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there that are rooting for Dave. And I think, we saw that.
Not sure that's true.
Yeah.
That number, by the way, is my new ATM PIN code. So just because I remember it so
all right, everybody know that if you happen to get Ryan's wallet.
No, Dave's sales token.
Oh,
the 534.
Yeah. I think that's more like a code on the back.
It's a spiteful. Yeah, it's a spite. It's a spite code.
It's what I like to program my hotel safe for.
So anyway, so numbers were up. I will reveal the final numbers, but they were definitely up from last year. And it was very close. We actually, I'll go through some of the stats. So the first purchase that was made this year was actually for Dave. And Dave actually got the first 4 purchases, Ryan. So you actually got a very slow start to the sale here. So congratulations to Dave on that.
How many of those people had the last name Mandel?
Well, he didn't start by
6
doing
of the 4 of them.
Yeah, and they weren't Dave. They may have been Becky, or Freddie or somebody. But
believe me, they were not Becky. Believe me.
I'm one thing I'm certain.
Let me be really crystal clear. Becky Mandel did not purchase anything at Propstore to bring into this house. That I know. Yeah.
And if she did, she probably used the Ryan 10 code.
Unless you guys have a working flamethrower from War Hunt or some movie I've never heard of, just that could literally burn shit. Yeah.
I think that's in the EMLA auction, so that wouldn't qualify for this sale.
Yeah, very good.
But another stat, and Dave, you should be excited about this, is the total number of products sold.
This is just a long wind-up to my knockout.
But Dave, so listen to these numbers. So number of products sold. Ryan, 16. That's pretty good. That's actually up from last year. Dave, 31. Yeah, wow. Good work, Dave. Good work on that.
All right.
Again, I know where this is going.
So then we also looked at sort of the sales for the U.S. office of Propstore versus the U.K. office. Dave, you had more for the U.K. office, And Ryan, you actually had more for the U.S. office. It was a little, it was.
I think, now that Ryan's living overseas, I think they're getting a little sick of him. I think they're very tired. The heart grows fonder for what they don't have over there.
Trying to send him back. Yes.
Yeah.
So
no, I'm huge overseas. That's true.
So I think the overall numbers benefit because when we did the promotion this time, it was around the Christmas time. So I actually wanted to look at it to say, where were we leading up to Christmas? And then the final week, we ended this on December 25th, which for a lot of people out there is Christmas. And so I looked at sales. I was monitoring this all the way up. So sales up to December 18th was Ryan. And again, you had the total was 9,164. Ryan was at 6,597.96 cents. Dave, you had $7,529.52. So I don't know what percentage that is, but that's thousands of percent higher than what you did last year.
That is true. That
is true.
So then we looked at
that's less than 20% higher than I was at that time. But but beating his own personal best. PB.
I believe that the FBI and the CIA have been weaponized against my Propstore totals. I'm just going to continue to say that.
Possibly.
So, Dave, I know you saved your money to do a big last-minute purchase and during that final week, and it may or may not have helped you to actually do that if you had made that purchase. So we looked at we waited for that final week, and I was really there. Dave, I don't think you actually spent your $200,000. You must have been one of those people that came in after the bell because your number for the last week was...
I spent it on the 26th.
You did it on the 26th. I think you got to keep your dates straight. It was $289.08. That's what you got in the final week of Christmas, which is still good. That's still like half of what you got all of last year. So I would say that it's a remarkable improvement for where you were.
That is true.
In 1 week, yeah.
And so, Ryan, your number in the last week that you added to your total was $27,979.88.
What?
Yes.
What?
That was $27,979.88 in the last week that he added to the total. So
he's gone.
The total raised for the entire year was a record $42,388. Dave? Dave?
He's gone. It's fine. Chuck, it's a one-man podcast now. Just continue.
Yeah, well, what happened...
Please tell me how great I am.
I just got off the phone with my lawyer. We are contesting this. Bullshit. No one in their right mind would spend $27,000 on your crappy Propstore sales. What did you sell for $27,000? No, not possible. Bullshit.
So first of all, you just said that you were going to spend...
You and your entire company
If you had spent $200,000, you would have won this, Dave. So you can look back on that and regret it. But the final thing that what set Ryan over the edge is, how he asked for the highest priced items? Well, the very highest priced item that was up for sale on the Propstore website was this from Star Trek The Motion Picture, the V'ger, which was $26,155.
Yeah.
And because of your love of Star Trek, Ryan, they used the Ryan 10 code. That is what they said to me.
Hell yeah.
So they support that. Thank you for your support of the Star Trek franchise, for being and embodying all those things. Star Trek, that put you over the edge because of your love of Star Trek to win this contest.
No!
So
yeah. So $40,000 in sales total?
$42,388 this season.
All right.
That's pretty amazing.
See, Dave,
it's a team.
It's a team effort.
Yes.
It's a team effort. I mean, in this case,
I want the name of that guy that bought the V'ger thing. I want that name. Name.
We're going to get it because he's going to be on the podcast telling me why he voted for me.
That person exists.
Yes. So, Ryan, I would like to give you your second award.
No.
Again, the Blue Diamonds.
No.
Look at that.
No.
Made out of real,
I
guess glass or crystal.
Yeah.
Yes, look great.
Yeah. No, I know it quite well, Chuck, because I already have one.
I believe you do. This will look great next to
How our sound mixes work. Does that work?
Yeah.
I think Ryan and I
just want to say I I won a Golden Globe for Best Drama this year, and this is the best thing that's happened to me.
Well, thank you, Ryan.
So thank you.
And thank you for those the last minute draw of making somebody think at that critical point that they were going to go and use the Ryan 10 code and put you over the edge and put those sales, the collective sales between Dave Mandel and Ryan Condal, at $42,000 plus. That was an amazing year, guys. It was a great season. It was a great promotion. We here at Propstore want to thank you for hosting it, and for all those people out there that participated in that. I know everybody was rooting for Dave. It was very close, as you can see. It was leading up to that last week. But Dave, you got to do a better job of either A, buying some expensive items actually and following through on your promise, or B, convincing other people to do it for you.
I want to thank the Academy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm holding my family.
$26,000 purchase,
my parents,
and they used the coupon. That is insanity.
I'd like to thank all the collectors out there, all the listeners that Stuff Dreams are made of. I'd like to thank my co-host, Dave Mandel, my wingman. He doesn't have as many kills as I do, but I couldn't do it without him.
Apparently, I have no kills. Apparently,
Dave, you did a great job.
$7,000 of gutter purchases.
You did great.
You did
right
great,
up until the last week.
Yeah.
But thank you, and I would like also thank Star Trek: The Original Motion Picture.
Great movie.
Terrible movie.
Without Star Trek: The Original Motion Picture,
I'd just like to say that
this would not be possible.
David Mandel does not represent the voice of the sponsors here, so we love Star Trek.
Other than the 7 people that bought with my name on it, all of our listeners are idiots.
I think, Dave.
I'm very satisfied with these results.
I'm hopeful for you.
Yeah,
I'm hopeful for you.
Yeah.
Did it fine.
Can I go for the three-peat? Has that ever happened in Propstore history,
setting
Chuck?
new ground here, just like with Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
I quit.
Into Strange New Worlds.
My plan is to be the Montreal Canadiens of
no one likes them.
Dave 10,
no one likes
Ryan
them.
10 promotion.
No one likes them.
Well, again, great promotion. Thank you to both of you, and thank you to the listeners out there for rallying around this and making it a fantastic year. And we've got more to come here at Propstore.
Great. Thank you, Chuck.
I hate you, Chuck.
We'll talk soon.
You're fired, Chuck.
You don't have that power.
You're fired, Ryan. Bart, you're the new co-host. Get your ears on.
I forgot to say that somebody actually wanted to vote for
Welcome
Bart.
to the Stuff Dreams Are Made Of with Dave and Bart.
Yeah.
I can't hear the two of you. Mute them, Bart. Get rid of them.
I think we're going to add a Bart 10 code this year. I think that would be a new thing.
Oh,
we'll
that's
see
good.
How that changes the dynamic.
I like that.
Bart, you'd be
Split
surprised.
the vote.
Yeah.
The Ross Perot.
We did have somebody that wanted to vote for Bart, but they had to choose between the two of you, so they just split their vote. They gave Dave the $95 purchase.
Dave 5
and
Ryan
the more expensive purchase. Wow. But,
Wow.
And Ryan the $26,000 did that guy buy? A $95 storyboard, signed storyboard Xerox, and a $26,000 model.
So that guy gets to come on our podcast, huh? Guy?
No, we have a winner that will come onto the podcast, but I'm not sure if it's going to be the V'ger one. So.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
but it wasn't. But was it by money or by?
No,
by
it was of the more purchases you make, the more chances you get to win.
So, got it.
So he doesn't get 26,000.
No, it's not based on their dollar
entries
necessarily.
Got it.
But you'll get. We'll get to have a lovely listener on to talk to.
Thrilled. I mean, either way, I want to talk to that guy.
Yeah, $26,000 V'ger guy. Please feel free to reach out.
Yeah.
You're still fired, Chuck.
I'll get my job.
I don't think you have that power. Check the.
I don't know if
check the manual.
I don't know if Brandon listens to this.
He doesn't. They all hear about it.
He does not even know you're doing this promotion.
Steven was over this weekend. He's like, "Hey, you still doing the podcast?" I was like, "Don't you run the company?" Yeah. I said, "Yes, we are," but thank you.
He said, "Some idiot bought something for $26,000," and then I went to the Maldives.
Yeah, he did. Actually, he just got back.
Yes,
He's very tan.
Yes,
and they haven't returned it yet.
Very
$26,000 junket to the Maldives.
Well, less 10%, Dave.
Sure. Sorry, 20, whatever.
Plus tax, but kind of balances out.
Right. Depending on where it is.
Pounds, yeah. Great British pounds also, yes. Conversion.
Yeah. Well, thanks to both of you. Thanks to Bart. We'll be back.
Thanks, dude. Great to see you.
Yeah. Go fuck yourself.
Propstore is happy to once again be a sponsor of the Stuff Dreams Are Made Of podcast for season 5.
Welcome back, Propstore. This season, Propstore will be continuing the Dave 10 and Ryan 10 contest battle / humiliation of me. But this time, they've asked the host to sweeten the pot. So not only it's going to be the pot will have not more than just my dignity in it, apparently. So we've sweetened it beyond my dignity. Yes, exactly.
Dave, on Super Bowl theme, you're the Buffalo Bills of podcast hosts. That's
right. Without
you get to the show every year,
but I don't even get to travel. I don't get to go anywhere. I don't even get like a nice trip to Arizona or the Rose Bowl, which I guess I could drive to. But yeah, that at least would be something. Or no, nothing, just nothing. So for those that don't know, here's how the contest goes. Go to propstore.com, search the Buy It Now section with over 5,000 amazing collectible items for immediate purchase. Some amazing, some that are just pretty good, let's be honest, and some that are okay. And
the great stuff goes to auction.
Yes, exactly.
When you go to checkout, type in the discount code Dave10 or Ryan10, which give you 10% off your purchase. And at the same time, you're voting for your favorite podcast host. At the end of the season, the exact date to be announced, the host with the highest sales totals in dollars will be named the winner.
But here's the twist this season. This season, someone is going to buy something for $400,000 and put the Ryan 10 code in. That's the twist. Throughout the season, Dave and my new co-host Ted, put in Ted 10, will be emptying out their closets, and you can win our stuff. Did we agree to this? Have we agreed to give them our stuff?
We were browbeaten into this.
You know what? This is fine because I am cleaning that condo. I finally have started cleaning the condo, and I've got a lot of garbage. So if you enter the Dave 10 code, you can win a pile of my garbage. And those of you that can win, put in Ryan 10, you can win Ryan's quote unquote stuff. Do you feel your stuff will be good stuff or garbage? By the way, my garbage could be someone else's treasure. I want to point that out. Yeah.
One man's rubbish is another man's treasure. I don't know. I'm trying to do the London version of it. I just moved, so I probably have less rubbish than you do, but I do have a bunch of crew gear from both Colony and House of the Dragon that I could offer up, and I probably have some.
Me too, but I'm bummed.
Yeah, I have a nice making of book from House of the Dragon that I can sign.
I could put my Macquarie book in. I could do that. That'd be okay.
That'd be good, Dave. I think our pile should just be Colony and House of the Dragon crew items and
old Curb Your Enthusiasm and Seinfeld video cassettes.
Yes,
but VHS box sets.
Yes,
which by the way, at some point you'll get those graded and they'll be worth millions of dollars. That's apparently the hot new collectible. So I think we're helping things. So we're going to find stuff. I'm going to start putting a little pile to the side. We're going to find some stuff.
I'm going to make a plastic bin of stuff.
Interesting. Yeah. And maybe on the next show, we'll start pulling some stuff out, maybe start showing, or maybe not the next one, because I think we're going to record the next one in about 30 seconds. But the next one we'll do.
Somewhere down the line.
Next time we're together, we'll try and find some stuff and let you know what you could win. So go to propstore.com. and buy an item or two with a 10% discount and vote for your favorite host, Ryan Condal, today, and continue to force me to eat off the floor and lick the dog poop that is my life. So thank you.
Everybody likes an underdog, Dave. I think this is your season.
Nobody likes an underdog. That's what I've learned. Nobody likes an underdog.
Dave,
people
10,
like
everybody.
People like Star Trek 1 with the V'ger prop is what people like. But
look at the man; he's broken.
Yeah. Okay. Broken.
Thank you.
Ruined.
All right, it's been 2 weeks. I think Dave has calmed down a little bit.
Not really. Not really at all.
Not really.
I did manage to change my shirt, but no.
As did I. Calmed down. In solidarity with my friend Dave.
I am not happy. I came back only because you threatened to sue me. Is why I've come back. Otherwise, I would have started
paying for our very successful podcast all by myself, Dave.
I'm here reluctantly. Let me say, legally speaking, I'm here reluctantly and under contractual obligation. I'll be looking to exit this as soon as humanly possible, based on the ongoing fraud that is this something or other. And but let's get on with this charade, if you will.
On January 6th, we'll be storming the Valencia offices.
Storm Propstore. Yep.
Of Propstore.
We're going to do it in June in honor of their auction. We're going to storm the day before the auction. We're going
when it's 137 degrees up there. Good idea.
The choices are 137 degrees or a fire. So one of those two in Valencia.
That's very true.
So, yeah.
Well, we're very excited to be joined to fulfill our contractual obligation to our sponsor, and to invite on the contest winner, which is very exciting. It's a fellow collector. We don't actually know much about him at all, so we're going to learn all about it at the same time as you guys. But please, everybody, warm welcome and applause track for collector Stefan from Germany.
Thank you, guys.
Stefan.
Hello.
Stefan F.
Nice to see you in the screen.
Stefan F. He does not want his name being used.
That's right.
He doesn't want people to know he's a fan of the podcast.
Correct.
Yeah. It's like,
and also
like Alcoholics Anonymous. He doesn't.
Yeah, also
it's Prop Collectors Anonymous.
Being a contractual obligation, I just want to. That's not good to know for anybody,
He's here very willingly.
I'm fulfilling my duty.
Very happy.
Yeah, I'm fulfilling my duty.
Well, thank you, Stefan, for joining us. I have a question, and so we now know who won the contest. It was me.
Do we?
We do. Thank you to Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Stefan, it's in dispute. Let's just simply say there's a recount.
The people have not yet spoken.
There's a recount. Yeah.
Yeah. And but what we don't know is that, so obviously you participated in the Dave 10, Ryan 10 buying at Propstore. What we don't know is what you bought and whose code you used. So can you please tell us?
Yeah, sure. So the question about what I bought is actually hard to answer because I am a frequent buyer at Propstore. Maybe I buy too much. But I can tell you that, unfortunately, I chose the one and only Dave 10.
Finally,
son of a bitch!
Finally, Stefan, how would you like to co-host this? How would you like to co-host this podcast? I'm talking about a new version of the podcast, sort of the things dreams are made of. It's going to be called
the cars dreams are made of, something like that.
Yeah. Just saying, if you're interested, if you're available, I work very well with people on European time and whatnot. Well, thank you. What did you buy for 37 cents that helped my total?
And why didn't you buy the V'ger from Star Trek?
Did you think about buying the V'ger for $37,000 and putting my name on it? No.
Oh, actually, guys, I think we can make that a little bit more special. And I think I know what I bought with that particular code. And how about I just show it to you?
All right.
So, and I guess you'll know what it is, so I don't need to say much about it when you see it. At least I hope so.
This could be an unboxing video, but okay.
It was that piece.
What are we looking at? Oh, it's very nice. Is that a knife from, I don't know, a Riddick movie?
No, that's the cat's paw dagger, Dave, from Game of Thrones, not House of the Dragon.
Oh, is it really?
Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
they had that on the Propstore license plate? On the Propstore, what the hell?
On the retail site, huh?
Yeah.
They had that up there?
Yeah. It was up there at 11 a.m. German time, and this is normally when I have set up an alert on my phone. And
so that's when the update happens, which I guess is 2 a.m. LA time. That makes sense.
A couple of minutes after 11 a.m. And then I set an alert on my iPhone, and I just jumped and saw it was actually an unbelievable prop, in my opinion, for that kind of price. And I took it and entered a code called Dave 10.
And they let you use it on that. Wow.
You bought a prop from the franchise that I work on, and you used Dave's code to buy it. I mean, I think this is injustice. Dave?
You know?
Well, I think he was saluting you with the selection of the title, and then he saluted me with the code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a perfect combination.
Yeah, it's like if he bought a Seinfeld prop and put your code on it. It's like nice. It's both.
But he
Exactly.
didn't.
Well, there are no good Seinfeld props. There are no daggers from Seinfeld. At least
That's
I don't
true.
think
but,
so. Yeah.
To add
Wait,
to
hold
it,
that
it
hold that
is-
thing back up again. Hold on. I'm sorry. Just hold that up again. Yeah.
One moment. So this is the backup Arya Stark Night King killing dagger.
So this is the one she kills him with at the in that third to last
It's
episode.
ascribed to that
was.
sequence, huh?
But it is a backup, so it's not 100% finished, but I think it's a beautiful piece.
It's still really
it's
cool.
great.
Yeah.
And it has an iconic shape and blade, and that's why I was really happy. Thanks for the 10%, guys.
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
Well,
That's a good deal. Well,
thanks
thank
for
you.
buying
Thank
and
you.
supporting us.
So, where were you when they called you to let you know that you had won this contest?
Oh, is this like, yeah, it felt like I'm actually getting a casting call, like I'm chosen, and I was just sitting on my couch, I believe, and just watching some Seinfeld.
Wow, that
Really?
doesn't get better than that.
Yeah. It
But
was really
were
like...
you using the Ryan 10 code while you were doing it? Because that would justice.
I promise you I'm going to use it in the future.
Okay.
You don't
send
need
you some
to.
screenshots.
There's no reason to.
Thank you.
You can
Please
now
do.
use the Dave 10 or the Stefan 10 code on the new show. It'll be fine.
Great.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So Stefan, you're in Germany. You're a
right.
German collector, as they say, or a collector who lives in Germany. Where in your life does props come in? Obviously, I'm sure you are a movie fan. I see an incredible John Wick and Looper poster, two movies I like quite a bit behind you.
Yeah.
And one third thing that I will dare not speak its name. But where does movie props come into your life? How do you get into the whole collecting thing? What's your journey?
Jumping back in time, I would say my dad was always showing me the really good Hollywood movies from the 90s, 80s, or even 2000s. And I really fell in love with movies like Bowfinger or Heat. And all these kind of classics, or Naked Gun, and all these kind of movies that had a terrific script and less CGI than nowadays. And I really fell in love with those movies, and to this date I really love watching them. Well, I guess there's this moment when I was younger when I really thought like, hey, movies are giving me something that is making me happy and giving me joy, and that I can have when I want it, basically. And then I made the transition and went to cinema. My first movie was Flubber with Robin Williams. I remember it. The movie was not great, but I only realized it a couple of years later when I was older.
Sure.
When I went to the cinema, it was like mind-blowing.
Do you have anything in your collection from Flubber? Let's ask
No, I don't
question. No. Would you be
I know
interested? Would you, if I said to you, here is a piece of Flubber and it is not expensive, would you have it just to capture that moment?
To honor the
memory.
memory.
Would you be interested? Yeah.
Probably yes.
All right, that's a good answer. I
know
think
there
that's
was
a good thing. Yeah.
some stuff in the Propstore auctions, but I didn't go for it. I think it was too big.
I feel like
for
one
shipping.
man's Flubber is another man's Krull, so to speak. It's sort of
Right.
like, it's not great. I
Right.
just I got a piece. I got the piece a couple of months ago at this point, or gosh, a couple of years ago at this point. But I was sharing it with some other people. I can share it with the audience too. It's an original painting from the miniseries, and I don't know if this aired internationally. Are you familiar with V, The Visitors? It was about an alien takeover of Earth. It was V, and then it was V, The Final Battle. And there's these propaganda posters, and I have the painting, the original painting to one of the propaganda posters, which is like,
that's really cool.
The aliens with like, but in human form with two elderly people, because the visitors are our friends, it was that thing. And I haven't gone back into the movie to figure out exactly where that elderly post. I know it's in there. I haven't gone back to the miniseries to see where it is, because I just want to preserve my memory of how good V is, and I'm worried that if I watch more than a minute of it, like that will be ruined, like that it maybe isn't. You know what I mean? Like it's like you just want Flubber to exist in your mind. You don't want to go back and watch Flubber.
I don't want to ruin my childhood magic.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Dave, what was your first movie in the theater? Are you even aware of it? Do you know? Do you have a memory of it?
I was trying to think about that. I don't know if it was truly my first, but definitely up. I mean, it's funny, like Star Wars is a biggie for me, but I mean, the earliest ones for me are definitely like Disney things. Like I remember seeing like it must have been like one of the, when they used to re-release in the theaters every year the Disney animated movies. I have a distinct memory of seeing Robin Hood. It's always been one of my favorite Disney movies. I remember seeing that in the theater as a kid. My mom tells me that she took me to see Bambi and that I like had to be removed from the theater when Bambi's mother died and that whole thing. Spoiler alert.
I have the same story. Like that was my same thing. That was my
theater, a theater, like crying.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. It was the same thing for me, and I was just dragged out of there. So I don't count that because I didn't make it.
Yeah, I don't have any memory of that. I don't remember seeing Robin Hood. I don't have a visceral memory of the theater, but I know I was in a theater, and I have a memory and a love of that movie. I obviously Star Wars, another early one for me that I again viscerally remember. But again, these are like later, a little bit later is the Spy Who Loved Me. Like those are ones I remember like going to the theater with my family, and then I have, like I said, vague memories of like the Apple Dumpling Gang and like some of that other Disney fare, those live action Disney things, but somewhere in there. But I don't really necessarily remember my first. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
How about you? Do you have a first that you remember? I mean, you have a Bambi story too, but what do you remember?
I have a memory of Bambi, it's like an image, but is it constructed based on that story, or was it so dramatic that it actually imprinted on me when I was 3.5?
Later? Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, but I do. My dad took me to Return of the Jedi, and I remember. I don't remember seeing, because I would have been 4. I don't remember seeing it. I was already a mental Star Wars fan at that point. It was on VHS, so I'd run through the.
I think that's the interesting thing. Sorry, Stefan, you're young. You're closer. Like, how old are you? Are you allowed to? You okay saying how old you are?
I'm between 30 and 40.
We'll
36.
take that. So you're younger than both of us. And what's interesting to me is your youths have VHS, and obviously, or I guess Betamax as the case may be, but
my dad and his brother were both computer programmers, and they were both crazy tech people. And
so you had Beta?
There was a war between the two of them because my uncle went for Betamax because he's like, it's clearly the better format, and he had all of he had the chalkboard with the crazy string lines to show, and my dad was like, it's going to be VHS. And then
my uncle, oddly enough, similar but different, he was an early adopter. So before there was VHS, he had this, Betamax. It was like this big, and he swore by it. And years later, at some point or another, he kept updating because they kept making Betamaxes even though they were not easy to get, but they made them into like the mid 80s. And so at some point or another, I took a Betamax, I think, with me in 1988 because it was his extra one. I took it with me when I went to college, and there was a store in New York City in Times Square called like Everything Beta, and you could still buy like Betamax tapes, but like really cheap, when VHS tapes were still like sometimes like $79.99. Yeah, exactly. The Betamax, you could get like a good movie like for like like $9. They were like wholesaling everything out. But I had a Betamax for like 2 years.
Stock that they're selling,
they
right?
Were still making some. New... They made it further than you remember. That because I guess there were other parts of the world where it was still being used. But this, I had one for like the first year or two of college, and then it died. And that was
if you went to like Eastern Europe right now, there's a family huddled around a TV watching a Betamax.
Yes, exactly.
They're watching a rock movie on Betamax.
But anyway, where I was going with this story was just, I do think it's a funny thing because for us, obviously there was movies on television, but you guys got to see great movies on like at home. And I wonder if that blurs the line a little bit, because like the fact that you had seen Star Wars even before you'd seen, Jedi in a theater. That's always just really interesting to me, because whatever I saw, even the Disney stuff was in a theater one way or another. That was it. No other choices.
No, I have a very blurred line. Like my clearest movie memories are actually like, I think my first like actual theater memories of going and the anticipation and buying popcorn and sitting down are it's the summer of 1989. I know we went to the movies before that, but I don't really have, that great summer with Last Crusade and Batman and Back to the Future 2 and Ghostbusters 2, that crazy, crazy summer. And I just remember that, week after week going, and I have memories of all those things. But before that, it's all just VHS memories. So I really don't remember. I don't have a memory of learning that Luke was, Darth Vader's son. Like I don't, I know I've always known that, but I don't, because of the fuzzy sort of, I definitely didn't see that movie in the theater is what I'm saying. But I do have a memory of going to Jedi, and I remember walking up to the theater and seeing it on the marquee, and there you go. That's why it's my favorite.
All right. So Stefan, you see Flubber, you love movies, get us to props.
Okay, I guess for that we have to jump a little bit back into the future, and the year was 2015. I visited a friend in London, and I took a tour through the Harry Potter studios that are located outside of London, and this was
right outside of the House of the Dragon filming stages. Everybody.
Yep.
If you go to the Harry Potter tour, you can see our stages right on the other side.
Then that was one day, and walking inside these sets was just mind blowing and teach me again in real life how important props are. Like if you would have imagined just seeing green screens on the left and right, instead of all these fantastic props and worlds that they created, even buildings, that was just mind blowing. And then on the next day, I was still just an innocent movie lover and cinema goer, and then that was the day that changed everything. I called Propstore UK. It's a little store located there outside in London, and I said like, hey, I know you guys from the internet. Can I take a tour? And they said yes. Surprisingly.
So you knew they existed. You had poked around the website, but just not purchased anything. So it was on your mind. You were a big enough fan. Okay, keep going.
But you knew they existed before the Harry Potter tour. You were kind of aware of this stuff existing.
Yeah, that was the time where I made the transition from collecting sideshow collectibles and all these kind of license figures that were getting more expensive and more expensive year for year. I just stumbled upon Propstore online, and I wasn't really believing that these are the real things.
Right.
And I was like, that can't be, like, how can it be possible that they are selling all this? So I went up there to Propstore. It was a interesting ride, let's call it, with a cap in the end. And then you get to this barn and you think like, am I wrong? Is this really here? And then they open the door. And to that point, I was still very innocent. And then they took me into a special office. It's a quite unknown person in the prop world. His name is Stephen, last name Lane. Don't know if you know him. And
I've heard of him.
Okay, I was going into his office, and there it was, like the Sleepy Hollow costume with the axe, 3 hoverboards right behind his desk, an engineer's hat on his desk from the movie Prometheus, and a couple of other fantastic props. And then it was just like, I was done. I was like, really? You got all this? And it was just mind-blowing. And, as somebody who loves movies, you have the disc, you can go to the cinema. Maybe you had VHS back in the days, but it's not like you can actually, hold it in your hands. I mean, you can hold a Blu-ray in your hands, but it's like an artifact of that you can put on the wall and is really outside of the movie to this point in my life. At least that's what I was thinking. I had posters, of course, like I have behind me right now, but a prop is so much more. It's like you take it out of the movie and it's on your desk and it's there. It won't go away unless you sell it. And that's just like, it's like a time capsule, a frame of a movie for me. Maybe if you even are able to screen match it to a specific scene, that's wonderful. And for me, it's just like I'm working in the IT and creative business, and movies always motivated me. when I was down or whatever, or I had a hard time in university, I just went to the movies, watched Star Trek or another great movie that came out back then. And it was just cheering me up so much and showing me that a crew of people can achieve anything. And especially when you are thinking about special effects and props, it's not easy to make them sometimes. It's actually very expensive. I just read that the suit of this massive monster zombie from The Last of Us was $500,000. So it's a real craft and art, and it's, for me, it's like having art at home, but from my favorite movies, which is even better. And that's how I came to props, and I purchased my first prop on January 2017.
So wait, hold on a second. That's not, you didn't buy your first prop when you're visiting Propstore that first time.
That's right, yeah.
But how long, what's the space between visiting and now you see this stuff and you go, this is all real, and you've been to Harry Potter and you whatever, and now it's in your head that you've got, I'm assuming you left there thinking to yourself, I got to figure this out. What's this, how much time till you were able to kind of go?
It was just half a year, I would say.
Not even. Okay. And was that just waiting for the right piece, putting some money together for it? Like, what was the delay? Or was it just sort of just a little gun shy, a little bit still? Or did you have to sell all your sideshow figures first?
Here's the story. So I was just finishing my master thesis, and I was always self-employed, but not at the level that I am right now. And back in the day, like if we look back 6 years ago, you know how the prices were. I know you guys hate talking about prices, but the prices were different, obviously.
Yes. We like talking about those prices. The 2015 prices.
We like pretending that those prices are still around. Yeah.
And I didn't have the money back then. And then 6 months after I finished my master thesis and everything, I was getting more money. Obviously, I was working more. I didn't have to do much time.
Is that when you sold your YouTube channel for $37 million? Is that when that happened?
Yeah, exactly. That was the time.
Your car bidding site.
Yep. And then I just bought my first prop, and it was from Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. It was Detective Edward's costume. Nothing special. 195 pounds back in the day.
Who was Detective Edward? Sorry, forgive me. It's been a while on Terminator 3.
Good question. Yeah. He was just in one scene where they are investigating something, and it was just like an entry prop for me. I wanted to see how it is, how it looks, and I received it. And
interesting that you went. Interesting that you went costume first and not actual prop. Are you a costume collector to this day? Do you have costumes in your collection? I mean, obviously, I see the urn, and you've shown us the dagger. Do you are you a costume guy as well?
Well, the thing is, I have a couple of friends around the world who are also collectors, and we have a slogan. Each year we are telling each other, no more wardrobe. And the thing is, like, sometimes you just see something.
Those are good friends. Those are very good friends.
It looks so cool, and you just want to have it, and you are pretty sure when you're purchasing it in this moment that you won't have the ability to display that for quite some time because you already have something displayed, and it's always the same story. But I have been, or I have transformed as a collector from buying bits and pieces to only some really high-priced props, may it be entire suits or smaller props that are at a higher price level. But when you see a soldier uniform from the International Global Authority, I gotta have it. That's how it is, and it looks awesome if you display it. And
are you a Colony fan?
Yeah, I haven't seen all seasons because I'm, taking it step by step. So don't spoiler me.
Okay,
but
you got it.
I like it. Yeah, I do.
Good.
And
that was a Colony costume, Dave. He was referring to.
Yeah. I figured from your girlish squeal of delight.
He used the Dave 10 code when he bought it.
And ever since I didn't stop, and props and movies have been there, or props have been there since 6 years now, and movies all my life, and it's just amazing. I found so many friends through props in the world. It's just one big family, and that's what I really love. And I think it's a wonderful hobby, because we are now living in a society where we are thinking everything I can get next day by a click, right? So I order something, I have it next day. And I think with props, it's very different.
As long as you don't order from Bonhams, but go on.
Yeah, I'm talking more about the regular.
That's very true. As long
market.
as you don't order from Bonhams, but go on. Yeah.
No, I mean,
I'm not quite sure we're a society, but okay, fine.
I had mine.
Getting to question that
from Bonhams. I just want to say
your journey is very I mean, I love hearing sort of when the journey. I guess just I do think there are these patterns and this sort of buying the random bits and pieces, and then eventually kind of going and realizing I don't want the bits and pieces, I want the whole thing, or I want the more expensive thing. So question one off of your story, have you gotten rid of those early pieces? Have you traded them off or whatever? Or like, for example, that Terminator 3 suit, do you still have it just because it was an early purchase? And I know I made a joke about the Sideshow stuff. Is that stuff still in your possession, or did you let go of that stuff and kind of go all in on the props? Because, like, for example, the way like Ryan got rid of like his replica stuff, which obviously is closer to the props. He kind of got rid of his replica collection, and early on used a lot of that money to pay for props, whatever. And I certainly got rid of other things that I collect to sort of push into the prop world. So I'm just sort of curious how you've curated and how you've kind of moved forward with that.
Yeah, let me just finish my sentence from before. Yeah. So what really attracts me to props also is the fact that I cannot have it next day delivered. I need to hunt it. I need to search for it. I need to research and check if it's legit or not. And that also is a lot of fun to me, actually, because that journey until you find a certain piece you're hunting or looking for can also be very, very interesting. You meet different people. And that's really a part I also love. And about the question for Sideshow, I actually sold most of it. And the reason is once you have props, there's this weird feeling that buying a licensed figure isn't the real deal anymore. It's just like a massive big toy that comes with a huge box and shipper that you have to store somewhere. And then in the end, I'm sorry, for me personally, it feels like a toy. Also, it looks great, but when you have a real prop and display it nice, it's a whole different story to me. And I guess there are a lot of collectors who made that transition from Sideshow or similar companies to props. At least I know a couple of them.
I did the same. I mean, I went through a whole Sideshow Lord of the Rings phase back. I had a Balrog back in the day, which was like,
was that like, did it need an apartment unto itself, like a condo?
It was huge, but it was like it was just an early one. They did a very small run of it, and it was like, I don't know, it was $500 or something like that, and I sold it for like $4,000 or something like that a few years later. It was just it was just crazy, because some of those early ones that and it wasn't all of them. It was like Gandalf wasn't a big deal because I guess they sold a lot of them, or the edition was bigger. I forget exactly what the deal was, but I just remember like the Ring Wraith on Steed was like a huge deal. And the Balrog was a big one, and so I went through that whole phase. That was actually I was selling those to buy higher end prop replicas, and then flip the prop replicas into
all part of the circle of life. Yeah.
Yeah. What really annoyed me about collecting these licensed figures is you get the parcel from a new figure that just was released. You're very excited. You open it, and then there's something broken. Or you're selling it again, you're shipping it to a person, and for whatever reason, it breaks again. And then you have this dispute and everything going on. Yeah. Whereas with props, nobody complained ever if there was a dent or anything. It's like, oh, this was production used. This is awesome. The heavier it looks.
Production used by FedEx.
Yeah, exactly. But you get my idea. And that was also looking at the prices they are now asking for with these licensed figures. It's a couple of thousands easily. It's not worth it for me anymore. And it also got very inflationary, at least in some areas, with how frequently they release these figures, and looking at the value and everything and the struggle you have with storing these massive boxes and even displaying it. I am totally happy that I didn't follow that path anymore personally and focused on props.
I had a bunch. I got rid of almost all of them. I think I literally kept one or two that I just thought were spectacular. I've like thought once in a blue moon of like, I don't know, like every now and then, like a costume or something that I have. I've thought about getting the figure, especially if the figure has like more of the costume than I actually have, just to sort of show like what it should look like. And I never quite pull the trigger. The one thing that makes me laugh is with those things, you know, you're talking a little bit about ordering and you get it in the click of a button, but sometimes those things you ordered them and you get them like a year and a half later. Yep. And for a while, there was definitely a period where like I had sold everything off. And then all of a sudden, 2 years later, I'd get a phone call like, there's a giant box here for you. And I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, what is this? And you go, Sideshow? Who the hell ordered this? And it's like, oh, I did 2.5 years ago, but it finally, they finally did it. And to this day, every now and then a random toy shows up and I realize it's something I ordered from like before the pandemic that kind of got shut down and they're finally shipping it. And you're just like, this is 4 years ago. And I can't get rid of it quick enough.
We have a defense in my house, Dave, which is yelling, it was a pre-order.
Yeah, it was a pre-order. Exactly.
Yeah, but that's very true. Yeah, sometimes you wait like 2-3 years
from Hasbro.
It's really special with these waiting times there. Yeah, for sure.
So Stefan, what was the first big? I mean, you bought your Terminator costume, which is great, but what was the first big purchase where you really went for it? When you spent more than you had ever spent on a collectible ever?
What was that? The first time where you said, I'm going to spend this, but I'm never going to spend it again. And then, of course, that's all you did was spend it again and again and again.
And you didn't, because every time after that, you spent more.
That's absolutely right. You don't know me, but you know me, right? So I am very happy that I bought it. Actually, it's the Independence Day spacesuit or flight suit, however you want to call it, from Jeff Goldblum.
Oh wow, that's cool. Yeah,
and it's complete. It got everything from head to toe, including his socks. And it's marked inside with Will Smith / Jeff Goldblum. So some parts they used for both of them, I assume.
That's great.
Oh, I guess they're both very tall. I guess I could see them wearing the same size.
And last year, something very, very cool happened because I was able to also get into my hands Bill Pullman's flight suit from Independence Day, so I was able to.
When the president decides he's going to, because he's a jet pilot and he flies the plane. Yeah,
exactly. And then on top of that, having those two costumes, for some reason, somebody probably found it in his attic, but he had all the photos, the Polaroids, production stills from Independence Day. So I was able to get all the photos where Will Smith, Jeff Goldblum, and Bill Pullman are wearing their suits.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah. So
were these just like on-set continuity photos, like for like the wardrobe department? Oh, very cool, very cool.
But also just some photos where they obviously can memorize how a texture was looking or how a costume was specifically dressed or manipulated, right? So and then on top of that, I was also able to obtain a panel from a mothership, a really large one that I'm about to get soon. And this is like, I love Independence Day. Independence Day, I saw it on VHS first. It was like a mind-blowing movie for me, and it still is to this date. And I'm very happy. So you
missed that, despite seeing Flubber in 1995. You missed Independence Day in 1996. I saw that in the theater. Dave, did you see it in the theater?
Definitely in the theater. And I am, look, I can... it's corny in places and and it's silly in places and all that kind of stuff, but it is great. You know what movie I put that with? I put that and The Mummy, the Brendan Fraser, The Mummy, and maybe like something even like National Treasure. I put those like in the same category, which, and I will admit, I've never bought anything from any of them, but I've often thought about it because they bring me joy. They are just fun. I mean, it sounds silly to call them popcorn movies, but I could put one of those three on. I could put Independence Day on right now and just kind of watch it while I was sort of, working or whatever. It's a fun, silly movie. Yeah.
And you know how like, I don't know, how like Blade Runner maybe, or like Aliens is like the quintessential 80s genre movie, not just because it was made in the 80s, but because that movie just screams 1980s in the best way. To me, those are all the movies that are emblematic of the 1990s. The Mummy, Independence Day.
Very 90s. Like they were sort of doing the slick version of the 80s movies.
Yes,
basically.
Right.
Yeah.
The Bayhem version of
Yeah, right. It's kind of like, what if we make Raiders, but it's the Mummy? And what if we make whatever, but it's Independence Day? No, I'm fine with that
Close
as an
Encounters.
idea. But they are just fun. They're just fun movies. And I'm with you on Independence Day, just big time. Now, when that piece of the ship comes in, you mentioned displaying a little bit. Is that something where that's going to go against the wall and the two costumes will go in front of it on mannequins? Is that the goal? Is that the dream?
Yeah, that's not a dream, actually. I'm already working on getting the glass cabinets for these costumes. Obviously, I don't want to have them in the regular room air. I want to have them sealed some sort of. And the plan is to have one costume left, the other one right, and in the middle, the panel of the mothership. So it should be a quite epic display.
That'll look fantastic. That'll look really, really cool. That's excellent.
How long?
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask, how long from Terminator suit to how many months or weeks wise to big purchase all in? How long did it take you before you were just slamming mainline heroin into your prop collector veins?
That would be 3 years.
Okay,
that's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah, and also it's what I love about props is you can invest a lot of time in them, but it's also totally fine if you don't have time for a couple of days or weeks, and you still can look at them. So it's not like you have to take 2 hours every day to be able to have props as a hobby. And that's also what I really like as I work a lot. And that's very, very cool that you can also surround you with props, and it makes me just happy, And that's like when I see your office, Ryan, or the room you're just sitting in, it's just amazing. It's a great...
it is my office. Thank you. This is just a great... This is the computer I work on, so I'm surrounded by the things that make me happy and inspire me and remind me that I'm chasing all the things that I loved when I was a kid. And if I ever think I'm getting pretty good at this, then I just turn around and look at this stuff, and it's like, nope, keep going, keep trying to get better.
Yeah, and up from this year, I made something, or last year actually, I made something different for buying props. Every time I see a prop below $1,000 or pounds, I don't buy it. I take a note in a list, and I am saving this imaginary 1,000 pounds or whatever it is for buying a larger prop.
For buying the bigger thing.
In the beginning, I was just like, oh, that's just 300 pounds. I gotta have it. That's just 200 pounds. It's from Assassin's Creed. I don't care. I want to have it. It looks great. And then you end up with bits and pieces. And only a couple of years later, you realize, man, I could bought a big, awesome, iconic prop for the money I've spent. And that's how I changed my way of buying props, actually.
Yeah, that's an oft-repeated lesson of mine to people is don't nickel and dime yourself.
It's a tough lesson to learn, though. I mean, it's great that you did learn it, but it is that sense one day of sort of when you go well, I would never spend $1,000 on a prop, and you go, well, wait a second, right. You bought you bought 10 $100 pieces that you don't really care about and you barely remember. That's your $1,000 of, and again, adjust the numbers as you see fit, but you know what I mean? It's a tough lesson, but it's a good lesson to learn. But I do think you have to not learn it for a bit before you can learn it. I do think we all go through that. It's part
of the evolution. And I always find that I was lucky in that I had the replica prop collecting thing to go through. So I think I burned off a lot
some of that in
bad
that
habits
world.
Or the sort of new collector stuff off. So I came to this a little bit more refined and mature and all that. So Stefan, I was also wondering, it seems like you're a fan of stuff from the 1990s. And that was the key period. I mean, is that where you've kind of stayed and where you want to be? I mean, do you have anything older? What is the oldest sort of by movie release date thing that you have in your collection?
That's a tough question. Oh dear. I think Lethal Weapon is something I have.
All right.
That's probably older.
The first one?
No, the third one, where they have these bullets with the red tip. If I'm not mistaken, it is the third one.
Oh, no, isn't that Die Hard? Oh, okay. Yeah, I was going to say Die Hard 2 had the Die
blanks,
Hard 2
the
had
cartridges,
the magazines with the different electric tape around it. But the sort of exploding round bullets from Lethal Weapon. That's cool. That's the Rene Russo
probably
one
of the older props. And then I think I focus right now mostly on sci-fi actually. This year actually pretty soon, I'm getting the Armageddon spacesuit from Beer, the entire one, head to toe with electronics and everything. So
fantastic.
That's going to be pretty cool.
That's another quintessential 90s movie. There you go.
That's true, so funny. Yeah. You're there's another German collector who loved Armageddon and loved those spacesuits. I don't know why. There's something about I don't know what it is, but I don't know why. They're lovely spacesuits. It's just funny that both you guys are into the spacesuits from that. That's another fun, obviously very fun movie. I
read a funny thing on the internet this week, which was very emblematic of that movie and Michael Bay, and who knows if it's apocryphal, but I don't care because I like it. Apparently, when he came aboard, Ben Affleck asked Bay, wouldn't it be easier to teach astronauts how to drill for oil than it is for oil drillers to be astronauts? And Michael Bay said, shut the fuck up. And it was like, note received. Yeah.
The great story that I heard about the making of that movie, which by the way also has nothing to do with props, is, you had all these guys on it like Ben Affleck and Owen Wilson, whatever, but guys that were kind of a little bit like writers in their own right. And they all kind of like went off and like came back with like, little interesting like character stuff and jokes that they wrote for their own characters. And more or less Bruce Willis like would kind of go through it all and like take what he liked for himself, like whatever they wrote and kind of came up with. And I think some of that scene of like their demands from the government, where Bruce Willis ends up kind of delivering the main punchline, but then they kind of jump in, was a lot of that where they were allowed to say a little bit, but he got the joke. You know what I mean? He got to say like no taxes. You know what I mean? Like he kind of anyway. I'm sure that's true as well.
That's probably
do you ever, Stefan, go backwards? I mean, like, do you think about? I'm just curious. Like, you're a sci-fi guy. Where does Star Wars fit into your universe? Or even like, obviously, we see Prometheus sitting there. Do you think about Alien or Aliens? Like, are you working your way ever towards a larger Star Wars or Alien or Aliens purchase, or Star Trek? I don't know where these things fit into your world, but is it something you dream of? You don't care. The numbers are too crazy, so that ship has sailed. But where are you attacking that stuff?
Well, I gotta admit that I'm not a big Star Wars fan.
Okay, that's fine. Good.
The one Star Wars movie that I really enjoyed, or maybe the only one, was Rogue One. I think that was Star Wars to me personally. I loved it. And actually, I just found the oldest prop I have, which is from Terminator 2: Judgment Day. It's a Terminator endoskeleton leg and hip section.
Oh, very nice.
Wonderful display.
I love that.
And yeah, Star Wars, Star Trek. I love the new Star Trek movies that maybe are not continued right now. Star Trek Beyond, Star Trek Into Darkness, and the original
the Chris Pine ones.
Yes, exactly. I love those. But other than that, I'm happy actually that I am not a Star Wars fan, because that would be really expensive to me.
Well, would you go out? But let's just zero in on Rogue One for a second. I mean, I think odds and ends, like, would you go after a Rogue One prop, or not enough to care? I mean, if something good showed up. I mean, again, let's imagine it's not going to necessarily go as crazy as a quote unquote New Hope piece, but you know, I'm sure it would be not cheap. I mean, is that something on what's on? Let's go. Let me go another way. Answer that, but also what's on your list? What are you looking for these days? What are you dreaming of getting for your collection? Because maybe we can help you out.
Actually, this year I'm getting what I was dreaming of. I'm getting the Matt Damon Hulk exosuit with his skin under armor, where they gave him a skin suit or whatever it's called. I get a chem rail, which is pretty amazing to display along with it. And
from Elysium.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, cool.
And
Nice.
well, I already told you about the Armageddon piece. So these are definitely movies I love, and yeah, props or suits or whatever you want to call it, I really love and wanted always to have. And other than that, you know, there's not a day going by where I'm not looking on a website or in a forum or in a group.
Is there a favorite movie you have that you don't have something from that would be your dream movie to get something from?
Grail.
That you
Yes,
don't
I can tell you right now what it is, but I don't want to motivate other people to bid on it. So
it's going to be okay. No one watches. No one watches.
There is a gun from Heat in the new Propstore auction. Totally unexpected. I haven't seen any Heat pieces except one weird street sign on eBay a couple of years ago. But other than that, I have not seen a lot of Heat pieces out there.
The thing that I thought was interesting, it's in their new sort of
online?
The online one. There's also a set of, I guess you don't see them in the movie, but it's like their file. It's like Al Pacino's file, Vincent Hanna's file on them. So it's got like surveillance photos on the various, on the gang, so to speak. And I guess it doesn't show up. Who knows? Maybe it was on a desk. It doesn't show up in the movie, but I thought it was really cool looking just because the photos were really cool looking. I saw the gun. I thought that was neat too. A gun's a gun is a gun to me, but I understand why guns are obviously a big part of it.
Is it Hannah's gun?
I thought it was
I would have to
Niro's
look,
gun.
actually. I
can't remember now, but my mind didn't.
Because Hannah had that cool, the snub nose Colt with the custom grips on it. I mean, it's at least it's not an off the shelf piece, but
I don't think it's that one. But I forgive me.
But don't worry, Stefan, because I think this will actually air once that auction is over. I think if I'm doing my math correctly, so I think you are safe.
Perfect. Yeah, and other than that,
that's going to sell for $1 million.
To answer your question, Dave, I think.
Have you, by the way, real quick, other separate question? Yeah. Have you listened or read Heat 2 yet?
The book, no.
The book, I highly recommend it.
You got to do it.
You will love it. Take a vacation and do it. It's so good. It is so good. Yeah,
it's awesome.
No, I'm saving that, and
I read it and I listened to the audiobook. That's how much I liked it. I've never read a book twice in that close whatever. Yeah,
I think Heat for me is a wonderful, wonderful, fantastic, intense, and a really jaw-dropping movie. It's so raw and real, and the performances were so outstanding. I'm really I can watch the movie every week. It's never getting boring to me.
Oh, it's incredible.
I like Heat so much. I actually rewatched Miami Vice recently. That's how much I like Heat.
Look, Dave, Miami Vice is a good movie.
It's funny, there's this whole cult of Miami Vice. There's podcasts devoted to Miami Vice, and there's good parts too. I think it's an interesting movie. I don't know if it quite works, but
I mean, it's not Heat, but I think it is a really good movie. That's for some, if that movie came out today with all of the just shit that we're wading through, we would be so excited, just so excited.
I went back and I was pleasantly surprised how much more I liked it now than I guess at the time. I do think there was a certain expectation, not that they were going to make the TV show, but it was such a departure. I think that was, I don't know, maybe part of it.
I knew of the TV show. I was not a fan, or missed it, didn't watch it. Now, Dave, I have a question for you. Do you think if we started a Miami Vice podcast that we would have more listeners?
I think we could sell that for $37 to $40 million easily, really easily. I think we'd already be driving our own Porsche Carreras right now, both of us, matching ones with twin license plates.
Thing 1 and thing 2.
Yeah.
I love it. Please, can we do that? Please, can we do that?
Yours with a steering wheel on the wrong side so you can drive it in the UK. Yeah. Have you driven there, by the way? Do you drive there?
Oh, yeah. I drive every day.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah.
That scares the hell out of me.
Yeah. I have a really cool car, too. I have an Audi that they don't make in the US because people don't buy station wagons in the US. They just buy SUVs. They make all these cool, they call them estate cars out here, which is just a wagon with the Avant style with the hatchback, the full SUV back, but it's on a regular car. and it's awesome. And I love it.
Very cool.
And yeah, I drive all the time. It was a bit white knuckled at first. You have to get used to it, but then it's super intuitive because everything is exactly reversed in the right way. So like if you were to, when you make a left turn, that's where you hug the curb. You make wide right turns and you hug the curb for left turn. But you realize very quickly, like if I made a wide left turn, it would feel all wrong because you're on the wrong side of the car for the wide swing out. It just feels wrong. So I
know, but isn't the time that you have to remind yourself of that? I don't know, like that, those 2 seconds, the different, I don't know. It just seems like it's like when I learned Spanish and everything was like, I would translate it into English in my head and translate this, what I wanted to say, and then kind of translate into Spanish, and everything had like a 2-second delay, like a weird, like pause. That's my fear.
Spanish is much, much harder, I would say, but no, okay. I found it very intuitive. I've really enjoyed it. Like, one of the things I do like about England very much is these people are very like they're serious about their motoring, and they have cars and they love them. There's a guy in my neighborhood that has an Aston Martin DBS, the super James Bond car, and he doesn't have a driveway apparently, so he just parks it on the street. It's like $250,000, and he just loves it. Right outside, parks on the street, watches it often, and you just like it's just in a regular street parking spot, and that guy loves his car and loves to drive it, and I guess
that. Good for him.
So Stefan, before we play the game and before we let you go, I just was curious if you could have anything in the world from any movie, the quote unquote holy grail that we always hate to talk about on this podcast,
but literally anything.
Anything
you can say whatever, the piano from Casablanca, any movie ever, whether it exists or doesn't exist, like anything. What's your just crazy
What
pick?
Prometheus prop would it be?
Okay, that's a hard one. No, it's actually pretty easy to answer. What I'm really looking forward to own one day is a costume from Arnold Schwarzenegger from The Last Action Hero. That's it. I missed
That's your last action hero, not Predator, not Terminator. Wow.
No, The Last Action Hero is one of the movies I've seen.
You are a child. You are a young child. That is the venom, or that is the carnage of Arnold Schwarzenegger movies.
Oh, you stop. Yeah. Venom and Carnage are awesome.
But it's a movie that personally means a lot to me, so there you go.
That's great. Yeah, I saw that in the theater as well. I loved that movie as a kid because like I saw it. What year did that come out?
I lived in LA, so that would have been 92, maybe? No, later.
Is it that much later?
I thought so. I thought I lived in LA.
I think it's earlier.
You think it's
Can
earlier?
we get a fact check on this? I think we need to look this one up because we need to have a correct answer. I feel like it's
1993. You're right.
There
93.
Go. Yeah, so I saw that. That must have been the summer going into high school for me, but I saw it in the theater, and I just remember like. I knew enough at that point about action movies that I got all the jokes or got the jokes. I like got why it was satire and was enjoying it both as an action movie, but I was also getting what was funny about it. And, the screaming, cop captain that broke all the windows and everything. And I loved that movie when I saw it. And that actor, the actor that played the axe murderer, in the raincoat,
yeah,
I remember his image was whoever that Tom. He's in Heat actually. He plays the man in the wheelchair that assigns. What's his name?
Oh, the guy who.
The actor's name is Tom something.
Okay.
But the guy, the bearded guy in the wheelchair that sells the plans to Macaulay.
Yep.
It's the murderer from.
He's by the way a very important character in Heat too. But anyway, go on.
He is. You're right. Yeah. You're right.
Don't spoil me.
No, that's it won't hurt.
That's nothing. And I just remember being creeped out by that guy in Last Action Hero, and every time I would see him in a movie, I was like, oh, that's the murderer from Last Action Hero. But I'm with you. I love that movie. But also, didn't Arnold Schwarzenegger's like full costume from that just sell in some big auction recently? Because I kind of remember that.
As I said, I missed it 2 times or something like that.
You need to track that down.
Yeah, I definitely do. Also, I've got a special announcement.
I'm sorry, I'm digging in. You would take that over if I said to you, here's a head-to-toe Terminator Arnold Schwarzenegger costume. You would take Last Action Hero. Last Action Hero. I almost said Last Boy Scout, which I love. Last Action Hero over Terminator 1.
I would actually, because
Really?
I'm more emotionally attached to that movie.
I get that. I understand that.
A vivid memory when I saw it with my dad.
All right.
can't do nothing about it.
Did you see that in the theater? No.
No.
Yeah,
no, for sure not.
That movie, it's funny. This has nothing to do with anything, but that's one of the first movies of me as a professional writer in the business where the deal for that movie partially ruined that movie for me. Like when that script sold, it was such a big sell.
Was that
Shane number? Black? No, it was the two guys. Crap. I'll think of it in a minute or two. But it was such a big deal. It was like there was no movie you could make that would live up to the spec sale. Do you know what I mean? Like, which I realize is not everybody's perspective on that movie, but I am aware enough that was part of the issue for me at the time. Yeah.
Zach Penn and Adam Leff.
Yes, that's it. Penn and Leff. Yep.
Yeah. Because Shane Black did the, I guess, the production work on it. Yeah, because he's credited. Yeah. Great poster,
so guys,
too.
I just wanted to make a special announcement, but you interrupted me, so I'm trying again. So I was talking to Chuck, and to spice up my appearance as a contractual obligation here, we made something for you guys, and the first 5 people who are entering a Dave 10 or Ryan 10 code are getting a free Propstore hat and mug. That is right, a free Propstore hat and mug.
This is a new contest. Wow. Okay. All right. Okay. Fair enough.
Yep. That's and spicy. The hats Very actually spicy. Are really nice because they got the new logo on it.
Ooh.
There you go.
They spent like $37 million on that logo. So yeah, that's a good logo.
Absolutely.
Let us play the game.
So many movies that come up today.
I know, but I kind of was leaning towards the two behind him. Because we didn't talk about either of them. Do you have anything, Stefan, from Wick or Looper? Because you have those posters. You have things from them. Okay. Well, I'm going to pick John Wick. I'm going to pick the series. Tell us what you have in your collection already, and then play the game. What's your dream piece from John Wick? If you could have anything, and I'll let you have any of the John Wick movies.
Okay. Well, I've got a good amount of wardrobe stored in my attic from John Wick. There you go.
That's great wardrobe, though.
It is, including
Keanu stuff from or him. Different people.
You don't know if it was. Well, you know if it was Keanu or not, but they made it like not obvious in the auction back then. So I assume maybe, right?
Okay.
I've got also a stun shotgun, which is pretty awesome from that movie. And actually, the most amazing thing is what I have from this movie is maybe a little bit unexpected, but you guys know the hotel in these movies?
Yep. Continental.
Exactly, where they are also now making a TV series about.
Right, TV series, yep.
And I've got a complete costume of one of the Continental staff people.
Oh, that's
and that
cool.
looks so amazing.
Yeah.
It's like, it's from John Wick when you see it.
It's definitely got a look.
That's an amazing piece, and I'm actually good with John Wick.
Well, but now now we give you anything you want from it. So that's the
anything
game.
Else.
Pick something.
Part of the game.
I know it's the game, so I'm just picking in my mind. Actually, I think it would be another suit with a little bit bloodstains on it that looks like more heavy used, because that's what the movie is about, right?
Yep.
Right.
But I know that these are skyrocketing as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that I got these props, and it's just an amazing series for me. It's an original series, and the story, how these movies evolved in the background from stunt people who became directors, it's fantastic. I love it. And I'm looking forward to the next one for sure.
Yeah, there's a new trailer out today, which is not going to help anybody who's listening to this podcast, because by then it'll be old, but the new trailer today is kind of cool. All right, bloody Keanu suit. Ryan, do you have something from John Wick that you'd be interested in?
I do. I'm apologies. I'm gonna be a real Hollywood douche and just start, telling stories and name dropping, but I have a good John Wick story. So I developed a Highlander project with Chad Stahelski, who's the director of all the John Wick movies. And I worked with Chad for about a year on that script. And actually we ended up selling a Jerry Duggan book together also to Lionsgate, Dave, Analog. I sold with Chad attached to direct it. So he I think when we were working on Highlander, he had me come out to see him in New York, where he was filming John Wick 3. And I landed like I flew from California, landed late at night, and I got back to my hotel room and I was like ready to just collapse from travel. And he called me and he was like, "Hey, we're shooting something cool. I'm sending my driver, come to set." And I was like, "Well, I can't say no to that." So I would get packed up at like 1 a.m. or whatever, driven out to this stage in Queens, Long Island. And I walk on set and it's the glass house from the third act of John Wick 3. And they have they have an injury list of all the people on crew, because it was literally a glass house that they built inside the soundstage that's dark, and there are glass walls and glass floors and everything. So people were just like walking into crew,
falling and just smashing,
and it just like this comedy of things. So they had days since like glass house injury or whatever. So I go on set and I'm watching this like crazy action scene of it's like a stunt double, I think, like falling. One of the bad guys basically the floor has been shot out, falling through the floor. They do it a bunch of times. Sugar glass. It's like the rubber glass, the broken glass they use everywhere. And then Chad's directing. It's super cool. It's like it's a movie pace. So they're shooting this thing that even on House of the Dragon, we would like do it in 2 hours and move on. Like they're spending all night to get this perfect thing done. And Chad comes over and he's like, "Ryan, I want to introduce you to Keanu, my friend Keanu." And there he was. And I obviously knew he was on set, but I hadn't seen him yet that night. And he just comes over and it's fucking Keanu Reeves. And like, I was like losing my mind. And I'm like, look, I like John Wick, but I'm doing like, Point Break, Matrix. I'm just like, my brain is melting. And he's in costume.
In the full, you're meeting John Wick. Yeah.
Dude, he's in the costume and it's the third act of the movie. So he's covered in broken glass and scrapes and the suit's ripped and blood and everything. He's got a katana in his hand. And I remember he had to switch hands with the katana to shake my hand. And and he goes, "How do you do?" That was it. I said, "Very nice to meet you, big fan." And that was it. And I was so glad that I didn't just go to bed that night. I was so glad that I went out there.
Awesome.
So that's my answer. I want that get up from that night, the suit and the katana, and I would be good. And that would be my Keanu Reeves thing.
Giant glass house. That's
an awesome story.
To throw stones.
That's excellent.
And it was just so delighted. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's excellent. I was going to go for one of the coins. I always thought that was one of the cooler parts.
Oh, yes.
The whole, just because I don't know. I just think those are really neat, and I like the mythos, I guess, of the whole, like, I don't know how that crazy world works. I know they keep adding to it, and the rules keep changing, but I don't care, and it's all fun and good. Yeah, exactly. But I would like one of those coins because I think that'd be really neat, and I think you recognize those. I think you'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." So that's for me. Totally. If I were a car guy, I would pick his car just because he always that original car was really badass. But
the Barracuda,
or the dog. The dog was cute.
The attack dog.
That's an incredible story, Ryan. And thank you for sharing it. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was great. Well, this has been awesome.
This was fantastic.
Collector profile with contest winner Stefan.
Stefan, a new friend. Thank you for joining us.
Keep in touch.
Sure. I have nothing to sell you, but if I find any of your things, I'll let you know. I got none of your stuff. Okay. Yeah, I got none of it. But that's okay.
And on behalf of the prop community, guys, I just want to thank you both for doing that. Ever since the time has passed and there was no more episode of Hollywood Treasure on the air, I was looking for something where you can really connect and just listen or watch, and you guys are doing it. So thank you very much. It's a great show. It has evolved since 2020, I would say. Your guests keep getting better and better and better. I mean, that's just amazing. So keep going. And awesome, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We appreciate that. It almost makes all the time and the money that we spend on it worthwhile.
Almost.
I can only imagine.
Almost. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening. Please follow us on social media at Props Podcast on all your social media loves. You can also watch us and subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, where you get to see a lot of the props that we are talking about as we talk about them. You can email us at where, Ryan?
Dreams Are Made of podcasts. I should back up and ask Stefan, but Dreams Are Made of podcasts at gmail.com, because I think even our guests, even our listeners can probably quote that email address right now. But it's all
use
fine.
that email if you would like to buy this podcast or our web business.
Write
$40
us.
million.
Write Dreams Are Made of podcast if you are the bidder and the winner of the Last Action Hero costume ensemble.
Yes, we will hook you up with Stefan.
And we will get you top dollar for it, because he needs to have it.
That his dreams are made of, and we need to get that to him. All righty. Well, thank you, Stefan, and Ryan. Thank you too.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.